Hello, hello, and welcome to this week's episode of Wow, Love, Light, Inspire, the podcast, especially for women just like you, by inspirational women. It's the go-to podcast that introduces you to women who are industry leaders and experts in their fields from all around the world. Today, I'm going to be speaking to Marg Scott. I've known Marg for quite a few years, and she is what does she call it? The Pranic Plus guru. So she does pranic, but she's actually had it in a pile of stuff that is absolutely hers, that she's channeled from the Master Chow. And it's really, really good stuff and really fascinating. So I speak to all sorts of women just like Marg, and I hope you enjoy it because I love bringing you this sort of stuff. Now, look, I'm Lorraine Roberts. I'm a productivity strategist, and I'm your host, of course, for the day. And I help business women, or women of all sorts of times in life, find their direction. If you're feeling procrastination, you're not doing what you're meant to be doing, you're not getting ahead and living an amazing life, I'm the person who can help you just find yourself and start life. I specialize in businesses. So if you've ever thought about starting a business, then I'm the person you need to speak to. So come along, have a free strategy session with me, and let's see what we can do together to get your life back on track. Now, I hope you enjoy the episode today. We release one nearly most Fridays. So come along, have a listen, and subscribe to our podcast and enjoy Marg. Hello, Marg Scott. Marg, I've known you for probably about 7 or 8 years now, and listening to you talk always inspires me. And your specialty is Pranic Plus. Now, that's a vibrational healing modality, which is different to anything else that anyone really does, isn't it?
Well, it is. It has evolved to that. I'm an accredited international pranic healer. I've done all the courses through Master Chow and Dr. Hazel, and absolutely fell into it. And because a brochure chased me around the house for about 6 months, and I went and did it. And here I am today, all these years, 20 years later. So after the first day, I just felt, oh my God, I'm home. And my body just fell into this, and I didn't really understand what she was saying from the stage, but my body and my soul just went, hello, we're back. I went searching. I think you have to have a turning point where you go searching for something, and I was recovering from the symptoms of post-traumatic stress disorder from my previous role in as a senior nurse in a public hospital, doing all the mortuary counselling and identifications. So that was fine. I'd been doing it for about 12, 15 years without any problems. But this one particular day, when I used to support the police, a lot of these people were found in the bush 6 or 7 months later, and trauma and all sorts of stuff. We were the parking lot for the trauma. So the nursing coordinator did this because we didn't have the luxury of psychologists hanging on the contact lists. And the doctors are all too busy, and I was rocketing along. So the nursing coordinator did it, or I did it, to support the living. And so I didn't have an issue with it until one day I was the one that sort of had a lot of issues when I used to support the police and the porter and everyone else. So my symptoms were quite overwhelming, and I went in search of finding a solution to this other world that was foreign to me. So I found myself in pranic healing, and it was absolutely life-changing for me. And I knew, oh my God, somehow I know this. Then my search just went on, and I went through, instead of I was going to do just one component, one unit a year, one module a year, but I ended up just doing the whole lot consecutively. Totally changed my life. My symptoms had disappeared because of the conceptualized way it was structured. The information was incredible. It was the metaphysical teachings that Master Chow, he himself had been shown and channeled. That can be foreign to people, that word, as it was to me. And he was a scientist, and so he didn't take anything on face value or from the heart feeling vibration, because he needed to understand that. So he researched everything. So he researched, and he was Malaysian, so he researched the Eastern ways, and he researched all the religions, the Buddhas, Hindus, Muslim, Christian, anything, Mayan. And it took him on this search, and he was shown these techniques of pranic healing. And I absolutely knew this. I was home. I've done this before. I don't know how, but I just felt so right for me, like better than cleaning your teeth. You had to be taught to clean your teeth. So this I just knew. And it answered a question that I'd asked for many years in my nursing career. My very first, I was very shy. I was actually called Margaret the Mute back in those days, and for the first 20 years of my life. And I'd asked this question. I got really brave and put my hand off. We were doing the cardiac system, and how we were told that somehow a spark ignited the heart with you after your very first breath when you were born. And that made sense. And I was like, okay, so there's a spark of energy or electricity that comes in that ignites this bundle of his that causes the heart to, and there's a combination of oxygen and CO2 levels changing in the baby. And I don't think back then they really understood the hormonal changes of that either. So I got really brave, and my brain just went, so where does the electricity come from to cause that ignite in the bundle of his, to cause the heart to start in the baby? Now, I got really brave, and we had male teachers who were really from all over the world, who are really fabulous tutors. And I put my hand up and cleared my throat. So where does the electricity come? And I absolutely remember this response was, it's a medical unknown. Oh, okay. So I was like shut down pretty quick. But the first day of my pranic healing, and during that 30 years, I'd asked neurologists, psychologists, pathologists, anaesthetists, every ist in the world that I'd worked with over those 30 years, who couldn't tell me where that spark comes from. But my first day in pranic healing learning, I got the answer. That's where the spark comes from, because you have a physical anatomy, which we've all learned, and I'd spent 30 years in my nursing career in there, and with an inquisitive brain, just went deeper down rabbit holes there. But I didn't really understand this energy anatomy that totally corresponds to the physical. And so the first day we were learning the anatomy here, which is the beauty of pranic healing. It works on the entire anatomy, not just here, the cardiac system, and then you've got to go to a neurologist for the nervous system, and then you've got to go to a bone bloke for the orthopedic system. Whereas this side has your metaphysical anatomy, has a complete anatomy, and it's not just chakras. They get the top billing, but there's rays and meridians and auras and etheric bodies and absolutely everything. And this pranic healing system that Master Chow had been channeled to pull together from all his searching works on the whole system. And it was like, boom, boom. So I got the answer that very first day that baby's heart is started from the electricity that comes through this energy system, bang into the physical heart, with the oxygen changes, the hormonal changes, and bang, it starts to breathe on its own. And I was like, oh my God, 30 years of nursing, if we had known about this part, we would be complete. Whereas our Western medicine just works on this part, and then all the other medicines work on this part, but pranic healing brings the two together. So you can fix this part of your body and then repair this part at the same time. So my quest is to try and bring the two together. So then we moved to America and lived there for 3 years, which turned into 8 years. And I started teaching people over there on that East Coast that I was in circle with and just hung out with, and continued to do my pranic practice. And I got shown I had upgrades. I got channeled as well, honoured with being upgraded into new techniques. So because we can't just imagine if you had that very first computer that you got back in the 80s, it wouldn't take any of the software that we're doing today. And even now, computers have really only got a 5-year life because they're being upgraded so fast. So it made sense to me. I had a lot of guilt about changing Master Chow's ways, but I had to go, no, these are upgrades.
So, Marg, if we take a step back, like vibrational healing is vibration. So it's and that is what we class as energy.
It is, but it's the energy at different increments traveling along a vibration. Like it's vibration that's traveling along a frequency. And the Pranic Plus techniques that I now teach, and that just take another step back. The reason I love the Pranic so much, I've had lots of Reiki trying to ease my symptoms that did nothing. I would have been better off just having a drink of water because I'm a bit weird. And well, I'm not weird, I'm just not understood by the masses. But the thing is, the upgrades are moving us along the vibrations that we're all swimming in. So if we use that old computer from when my husband had that first computer in Warrigal, that old PC there's no way you could use it today because we've had so much upgraded information. So the vibration is the energy we're bringing in, and we're conducting that with the techniques to work on this anatomy, the metaphysical anatomy. So I'm using a vibration that I'm plugging into to clean up all and repair the vibrational metaphysical anatomy that has been damaged. How does it get damaged? Well, how does your physical body get damaged? There's trillions of ways of that. At the same time that you chop your finger off, mowing the lawn, these anatomy of your energy anatomy is still sitting there. That's why you have phantom pains, because you chop the physical off, but you've still got a energy anatomy pumping in energy there to the missing part of the physical finger. So that's the pain is recognized along the vibration of the energy coming out of here. And it can be life force. There's thousands of different terminologies, but I'm keeping it really simple. I mean, the life force holds a consciousness, which is different again. How far the rabbit hole we go down in this little talk, but we just want to keep it really simple. But there's lots. So the vibration is what's traveling along this metaphysical anatomy to make the physical anatomy work. And so how does it get broken? Well, it gets broken through a physical, emotional, spiritual, mental trauma that the physical has endured, and then the energy anatomy also gets traumatized. And then so we go in and you go to the doctor and you go to the psychologist and you go to the counselor and you go to everything else for your physical to get a comprehension of it. And then Pranic Plus people, my students step in and then complement your physical health by working on your energy anatomy. And then it's never one or the other. I am on a complete mission to make it both. And if someone turns up and they haven't had their pap smears or their breast screens or their liver checks or their blood tests, I'll be kicking them out the door to go and get that done. Otherwise, well, I only do natural medicine. Well, where's that got you? You wouldn't be presenting here if that didn't work. And we do both. And the specialists and the doctors are so overworked. COVID's proved that now, that we all need to work together. I'll work on this part, but you go and take some responsibility and go and get the proper science done as well. And we bring it together. And that's what we do.
And how many of the science-based doctors actually understand that they have there's more to their body?
I'm sure they do, but they're not going to admit it because there's a lot of regulation now, because we've got extremes in our population. No one will use their common sense to come along the midline. When I was suffering through my PTSD symptoms, I did everything I could. I wasn't going to just go, oh, I'm not doing that because it didn't work. Or like, well, there will be something out there that works. Let's do it all. You don't. People are just getting dogmatic and stupid. We noticed this with, bless their socks, the anti-vaxxers. They had a belief or they were vulnerable to the wrong beliefs. But this country in Australia, we're a measles-free country because everyone's had a measles vaccine. I was part of the Samoans didn't want white man's medicine, but the international health facilities had to turn up and immunise everyone because babies and mothers and parents and grandparents and children were all dying of measles. Because just because the world's covered in cement doesn't mean these diseases have gone. They bloody well haven't. So when people are informed with the right information, they can make an educated decision. So it's just about doing everything to support yourself with your science-based medicine, your energy medicine. They both are compatible because you're one. You're both, your physical and your energy. But you can't pull apart your neuro pathways. And I don't understand why I think it's just fear. And I don't think it's ignorance. I think it's just fear energy that's taken hold of them. And that's okay. That's their choice. That's their path. But this is where I really promote. We do both. You don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. You do both. You do everything to support your physical health in this planet. Same as we're all trying to do our bit to support the planet. There's lots of people give it 100%. Well, I just concentrate on putting my plastic in the plastic recycling and do the best I can. Same with your physical health. The doctor says take these pills and you ask why. You're allowed to ask questions. God, we're not dictated to. One would hope not. We're there yet. But you ask why, you get a bit of information back from your doctor, and he goes, because. You go, and then you sit on it. Same with this. And I'll have a crack at that too. This is the beauty I love of this modality. It works on all your physical energy anatomy in the simple techniques. And it also correlates and corresponds to your physical anatomy because it's one. You can't take one without the other. If you did, there's no life force coming in, you're dead. So let's support the life force as well as support the physical body.
Can Pranic actually help you with high cholesterol, or is it got to be a foot, or has it got to be a...
Yes, because it's the cholesterol is a hormonal based thing. So if you've got your energy and your heart and your kidneys and your liver having the life force brought in, the difference with Pranic is what I absolutely adore is it cleans all the system first. So the analogy I use is if you've got a lemon tree out the back there and there's an old bucket that's stayed under that lemon tree since you bought the place. It's been there for 20 years and I'll get around to throwing that out and you don't. So there's a bucket there and the leaves and the debris and the rain and the dirt and the bird poo all fall in this bucket. And then you go, get to clean this bucket. So you take the bucket out and it's full of diluted dirty water. So you get the hose and put more water in, you got diluted dirty water. And that's what a lot of energy things do. They bring in the energy, but you've still got this dirty crap in the bucket. So what Pranic Healing does, it takes the bucket and you get the gurney and you tip all the crap out and you wash all the garbage off. And then you bring the water in and, the bucket's still intact, lordy be. And so you go, okay, you've then got pure, clean water going in the bucket. It's not just diluted, dirty water. This is why I've had a lot of students go, oh, my God, I feel so much better. And I'm a Reiki master. I said, that's great. So you understand the anatomy a lot and the energy systems, but they can't understand why they feel so much better after a pranic session in class. And it's because we've gone in with the technique and cleaned off, we've power washed all the garbage off they've collected for 40 years or 20 years. And then we've brought in, facilitated the flow of energy that you're already plugged into. You've got energy pouring into your body, whether you like it or not. The tap is on until you die. And so the energy now is not bouncing off it's facilitating this beautiful clean canvas, a clean bucket, and then it can radiate through because it's energy. It has the ability to do that. It radiates into your physical body because the anatomy in the middle causes that to happen. So that's the beauty of it. We clean the canvas first, or clean the bucket first, then the divine energy comes in, then it flows into the physical body and removes your stress and your anxiety and the cholesterol. It then going to that, it'll help with your kidney function, your liver function, And then, but I would be, as a responsible nurse, and my students all say, well, you go to the doctor, get that blood test done, sort that out. Because that's the physical they're measuring. We can support those systems that make the hormones and the cholesterols, and you've got to have some cholesterol. It holds your ligaments together and does different things like that. But it's not one or the other. It doesn't fix snake bite. You need antivenom for that. But while your body's going into shock, we can do some clearing and treatment on you until the ambulance comes to take you off your antivenom. So you've got to use your common sense, and this is where people get tripped up. It's one or the other, and it's not. It's both. Let's make the world bring two together. There's lots of hospitals, and I had a surgery in Portsmouth, and on my pre-operative form, do you want post-op energy healing? Hell, tick, tick, tick. Yes, please, because my surgery was happening. There was a bunch of people out here who volunteer. They don't go and just sit and read to the old elderly. They volunteer to work on the people post-op.
Oh, wow.
So I had my pranic healers working on me from over here, and I had no pain. I did not need the oxycodone I was prescribed. I just had, I think I had one Panadol. But because my pain was under control, because I had this all happening on this side with my pranic healer, and I had the option of medication here, but I'm a bit unusual. I mean, one Panadol, I sleep for 8 hours. So I know there's a lot of people that have to have lots stronger things to relieve their pain. But because my energy field's been worked on and all spruced up constantly, my pain control was a lot less. So, and I know Rosemary, Andrew had a surgery many years ago, and she did pre and post-op energy work, and the whole hospital hardly had any pain relief. The surgical pain relief was not needed that day. So, because the body's life force was flowing into them better, she didn't just do Andrew, she did the whole hospital. So therefore, this physical body functioned better. So natural healers will disease, your body's not at ease, so it won't heal itself. Well, we take it the next level. Okay, let's just clean up the energy field so the life force flows in better, and the vibration of that life force can do its job on that physical body better and enhance it. So yes, of course it'll heal itself, but let's just take a couple of days to heal you rather than 10 weeks. On its own, we accelerate the life force flow and the vibration into the physical body to accelerate the healing.
So the difference between pranic and Reiki overall is Reiki doesn't clean the body first?
Correct. My understanding of the Reiki masters I sat with that came from Japan to Master Chow's class, they were absolutely amazed. They go back, they just only use pranic. The ones, the 40 I sat with, 2 of them could speak English. And I said to them, "You're Reiki masters." Oh, I was in awe of them. They go, "Yes, but we don't invoke and they don't clean." And the different techniques were specific to different parts of the body. That was foreign to them as well. So I don't know what other Reiki people do, but I was so blessed to sit with these 40 Reiki masters that flew in Japan to Master Chow's course that day. And they were telling me the difference.
So what's evoking, Mark?
Well, you'll have to come and learn. There's lots of differences, but it's about invoking your health and safety of your techniques, so that if you stuff up, it's already fixed for you. So it's invoking is, I suppose, a prayer, but it's pretty specific. So we call in the vibration to do specific things, and it's your protection as well. So I've chopped the course up into 4 main components, and it's the techniques, and then the next module is the color, the use of color to make you a specialist, and then the next module is using how to use the tools, which we use a crystal wand, but it only just accelerates, nothing sexy about it. It just accelerates your healing. You either cut a block of wood with an old axe, or you cut it with an electric chainsaw. I know which I prefer, the electric chainsaw, thank you. So The crystal day is just teaching us how to use the tools to accelerate the healing and accelerate the vibration coming in and being more specific. And then module 4, well, module 3 is these two components, the use of the tool of the crystal and psychotherapy. So I call it Psycho Day. So all these people that we're meeting that have got anxiety, whether it be mild all the way through to PTSD symptoms, that's all the techniques to help with that. And then module 4 is about shielding and protecting yourself, so, and others around you. So it's pretty exciting, and it's just so rewarding watching people go through with this extra knowledge of how to maintain their family and their circle of people. And you have to admit now, and I love the gold out of COVID, it's accelerated our ability to understand our health systems under such huge pressure. It's been under huge pressure for a long time.
Absolutely.
But there's been this attitude of entitlement that people won't take responsibility for their own health. And, I'll just go to the emergency room. Well, no, the emergency room's too busy saving lives. If you can go to the doctor, go there. Save the space for these poor buggers that are exhausted. But if you've got a kid, I teach my grandchildren this, and I phrase it in a way, and I've got a couple of them. Grandma, my friend hurt her ankle at school today. And I said, oh, and how'd you deal with that? Well, I did better. Because I've taught her to make it better with the techniques. And I said, oh, how'd that go? And she goes, oh, well, I got rid of Lily. I told her to go and get the teacher. And then I just did better. And then she stood up and walked. So I said, that's just awesome. And I had another kid with a toothache. And I said, do you want some And my teenage sons I had 3 of them who were elite basketballers. So I had a fodder of people to learn on. And they just loved this. They could get on the basketball court with their injuries so much quicker because I'm working on their energy field. And they called it hooly-dooly. So Pranic Healing meant nothing to them. Can I have some hooly, Mum? Sure. What if you're injured? Save me chasing off to the physio as often. So I sent them to the physio, but I'm doing hooly on this energy field. Physiotherapy's working here. So you do both, which meant it was smart. And then they started bringing their mates home. So Mum will do some hooly on you, and then you'll be after footy training, and then you'll be good for Saturdays. So I had this lineup of kids every Thursday night after football training to have their injuries accelerated repair-wise so that they could then still function on the Saturday or the Sunday. So it was very rewarding, and I didn't have to go searching for people because the teenage sons just brought this line of injured athletes home. So it was great place to practice and understand. And every kid had a different issue, and a lot of them were very spiritual, but they were the last to get the memo, and they responded so quickly because they didn't question it. They didn't, just it takes effort. So do your hooly, Mark, and away it went. And then, I feel so much better. I had one kid Lincoln brought home or sent me to, and these little stories help you understand it. Brad's done his leg. That's right. He's done a hammy. And the footballer scouts are coming in a few weeks' time, and he needs to be back on the field. And I said, oh, okay. And I was coming from a nursing model. I don't just go charging ahead and doing stuff on people without permission. And so I'm coming from that space. So I said, well, where's I know he's met his mum indirectly as you drop kids on and off to their places. And I said, I knew where she worked. So I went to her and I said, now, Lincoln said that Brad needs some hooly. I do energy work. I didn't know how to describe it. But I said, I just need you to know before I turn up. And she goes, oh, please do. She said, yes, go. I'll ring him and tell him you're coming. Sure. Okay. So he was home, and I did a treatment on him, and here he's got a hammy. So I'm cleaning up the whole energy field, because that's what you do. And because all the vibration, the energy has to flow through. And I did a lot on his head, the back of his head. And I did his leg, and I'm like, why am I working on your head? Anyway, I just, okay, extra here on your head. Just do what you're guided to do. Anyway, that's fine. And I assumed teenagers tell you nothing. You don't get feedback from them. But this kid come boring in the door, and he called me Mum. as well. Mom, I've passed. You know, they must have got the bus home together or something, and they had their what do you call it, their end of year or mid-year results or something. And he goes, I passed maths and English. I've never done that. And I went, oh, that's really good. And he goes, it's you. You did this for me. You did this for me. I said, oh, that's really good, Brad. I said, I was working on your leg a lot, remember? And he said, but he said, you worked on my head. And he said, I can now hear. And then Lincoln's like, Mum, he does dumbass maths and English. And he goes, Brad, he goes, dumbass maths and English. And because he has a helper. So he had an aide. And I said, oh, okay. Then his mum's ringing me after she read his report. And she goes, oh, Marg, he reckons that you did something in his head and now he can understand. And she said, well, why am I paying an aide? So she rang the aide and she said, what's going on? He's passed for the first time ever and I'm still paying you. What are you doing? And she goes, because he's so far behind in his maths and English. She said, he can hear the information. He says, I can hear the information from the teacher and I can hold it until I get it on the paper. And she said, I'm helping him with his sentence construction. Now he's understanding it and retaining it. And I'm helping him bring him up to speed with because he was about grade 4 or 5 level maths, English. So she said, I'm helping him with his structure and his sentences, and he's accelerating really fast because he's now retaining the information that's coming from the teacher to get it on the page. And apparently I did that. And I went, oh, right. So this kid would have slipped through the cracks. And it turned out there was a energy center on the back of his head, and it must have been blocked, bogged, damaged, something. But me bringing through the techniques and cleaning it all up and empowering, infusing it with a higher vibration and life force, it then flowed into his cognitive brain parts that allowed him to retain the information to bring it down onto the paper. He said to me, he said, Mark, prior to that, I heard the teacher say it, then it just disappeared. I'd look at the page and I didn't even know what he said. It just disappeared. He said, when you did the hoolie on me, I now hear it and I can take it to the page.
So did he only have one session with you? Wow. So you used your intuition to know, you just knew that you needed to work. It's
well,
just
when you tune into these energy fields and your higher guidance and this kid's higher guidance, I just go with virtually. It's a bit trippy to explain. I just virtually step out of my body and it's channeled through that soul and that soul communicating, my soul, that soul communicating, and away it goes. So my hand just went up to those higher chakras, and so I just kept working on them, and then I'd go down, then it went up again. Okay, more. So, and you have to remember, 16-year-olds haven't had the dogma and all they've only been here 16 years. They haven't been that removed from their higher self. So, and this kid's he was very indigo and spiritual anyway, so he didn't know it. But when I went to him, he was playing this music that was, oh God. And I started and I said, Brad, can you just turn the music off? It's really messing with me. It was just competing. And he goes, sure. And he's looking around. He said, I'll put my favorite music on. I went, okay. As long as it's not this head banging stuff, there's nothing flowing properly with it. And he goes, and I said, okay. And and I said, you can sit there. So I hadn't done much with this kid. And this was energy work. I was a bit nervous how he's going to accept it. Well, I'm telling you, these kids accept it like crazy. And he put on Enya, his most favorite music. I wasn't allowed to tell anyone, which I haven't until today. But he's a grown-up now with 3 children and a very successful building business. But what I'm trying to establish is, you don't know, this to me was just a hoolie session to fix his leg for footy. And I ended up doing a massive session. He might have had it damaged coming through the birth canal. He might have had a brother that banged his head against a wall. I don't know. It doesn't matter. The fact is, I cleaned up the energy field so his energy could flow through to his physical body better. And he ended up with a better cognitive response into learning messages from a school teacher that then changed his life. He could go on and do an apprenticeship. And so It's just, you don't know, and you're not going to get feedback from people. The healing person has to step out on faith that they've cleaned it up and it's going to be good.
Can you heal yourself if you?
Yes, you can. I tend not to try, or my family, because I did all the boys before they got married and they responded instantly. But then when their wives came into it, it's a bit uncool to have your mother do treatments on you. And sometimes if you're very close to your children and their emotional traumas and swirls at the time, it's hard to separate.
Yes.
And that's another gold from COVID. I didn't have in-person clients. I did everything on Zoom, which actually was a massive benefit, because I wasn't getting caught up in their negative energy of their traumas. I could just go in there and clean it up and do all the advanced techniques without getting caught up in. I like them to tell me their trauma, because I get it out of their physical body and then I can hose it and cut it off.
Yeah.
So, and then they can go out clean. I don't like to reiterate that at the end of the session, because then they'll bring it in and drop it in again. They've enhanced it. So teenage children just respond really well. Little children respond really well, because like Willow just goes, oh, I know this stuff, Grandma. I know this. I don't know how I know it, but I know it. And I now know her energy. But some of the kids are like, no, no, no. And the others are just, oh, give it to me. They're just all individuals. But what I'm saying is, if I hadn't have stepped out to help this kid with his leg, because my younger son pushed me to do it and I needed the practice, I wouldn't have changed this kid's life, or it might have gone in a different direction, because he was able to learn and pass tests. You just don't know how effective it is. My 94-year-old mother, it helps her with her aches and her pains. I'm not going to stop her aging process, but if I can enhance the energy field and fill up her lower chakra, she's less likely to have a fall and break a hip, because she can lift her legs a bit better. Her aches and pains disappear, as she still takes a osteopanadol at 2 o'clock to help with that. And I don't say, don't do that, I'm only doing energy on you. No, she's in charge of her own body. I'm enhancing it. So I'm not going to stop her death, her imminent death, with energy, because this is her life path. I'm just supporting her so she doesn't have a fall at home in the garden. And when she's really depressed and is miserable and lonely, well, then I can do a technique and activate her heart so she can feel her own love come in. So and she's not as lonely. So there's lots of techniques along the journey of learning to enhance people's lives in just a little way. You can ease the elderly's pain, their loneliness, and give them some joy. But so 20 years into this and teaching, I've been shown a lot of add-ons, which is why I don't call it pranic healing as such, because it's not the same as you would go to a traditional class. It was locked up with contracts. Mine is the core of pranic healing, but there's so many updates and upgrades that I've added to it along the way to sort of make the vibration of this era more valued and flow more directly for these individuals. And
that's happening with all sorts of things nowadays. So we're getting updates and we're getting more and more information, and what we once thought was real, we're now finding out is not even the case.
That's right. And that's all been part of a transition. If you look back from the 1900s, the Victorian era, where everything was very science and accelerated, cars and petrol and penicillin and all batteries, and people were using hydrogen cars back then, but I think the petrol community down the track in the 30s, things changed. But we're moving now, and now we're going back to that science of the 1900s. And the reason is that 100 years had to shift a lot of dogma from the 1800s. So humans can't take things fast. We have to have a generational evolution.
We are changing faster and faster.
And now they're changing faster and faster, and that's because the world is spinning faster. The axis of the Earth is changing. The North Pole is changing. True North is changing every year because of this spin. And even the young kids tell me, but Grandma, we just had school holidays. And they're feeling it as well. So when you've got a kid telling you school holidays, we just had them, It's like, whereas when you and I were at school, they took
Oh, well,
forever.
forever.
We only had 3 school holidays a year. We didn't
Yeah.
have 4. We didn't have them every 10 weeks.
No.
We only had 3, and they
Oh,
took an
no, well,
eternity. And
well.
Christmas, oh my God, Christmas just never came. So now when you've got young children telling you that, Grandma, we just had school holidays. I can't believe it went so far. You're like, oh, it's not just me thinking the world's speeding up because I'm aging. But it's an absolute privilege to be able to use this in your circle. If someone sprains their wrist, well, you can sit there and do the energy on it and then chase them off to get the x-ray. So someone at the basketball sprains their ankle, and I had one of the kids from Cam's team whose father's a naturopath, and he's looking at me going across the court. So I'm sitting there I didn't have to rush off and do anything. I could just sit there and fire the energy off to his sore ankle on the other side of the court. My kid that knew what I was doing was highly embarrassed. And I said, why, Cam? No one else knows what I'm doing. They just think I'm waving to Kelvin. They just think I'm waving to him. So I said, you're the only one that knows what I'm doing. So if you don't tell anyone, you don't have to be embarrassed. He goes, oh.
Do you think this will ever be accepted in hospitals as
Yes, it will be. Hospitals, there's hospitals there was one in Hawthorne, and Olivia Newton-John, she has a wellbeing centre.
Yes,
These are all complementary medicines that's going in to support the physical body.
yeah.
She started this. And there's hospitals in Hawthorne that had complementary medicine as well as the surgeons working on you. And that's all happening. There's a hospital in Perth. There's a hospital over there where there was a bunch of pranic healers that went on a roster and did the post-op patients every day, pre and post-operative. So I actually haven't found out if they're still doing that. But things come and fade and come up again and go. And I think you're seeing in all the movies, which there's nano things that hold energy that are inserted into bodies. There's all, if you go into the movies that we see as fictional, that's actually coming into our being now. So we just learn how to harness this life force on a vibration and infuse it into the body. So I don't do a massive amount of advertising because I just have faith that the people that need it will come to me. So, and it's exhausting doing all that. So, and you don't want the wolf in sheep's clothing. This can't just be given to everybody. It has to once again evolve into the right place at the right time for the right amount of energy. But I think I know the Monash School of Medicine, they actually teach doctors. The Gawler Foundation's done a massive amount of integration of mindfulness. Everyone knows about mindfulness. Everyone's known about meditation for 20 years without going, oh, one eyebrow going up. And you really aren't looking after yourself if you don't meditate. Well, and mindfulness is exactly the same, teaching you how to breathe, teaching you how to just let it flow and be mindful of something. That's all coming out of the Monash School of Medicine. And the doctors like to know what people are taking, not because they're nosy, but because there are a lot of natural therapies that can mess with pathways and things. They're recognizing that. So don't be embarrassed to tell your doctor that you're doing this and you're doing that. He might be going, oh, that's why you're healing so quickly. And my surgeon in America goes, so how come you didn't fill that script? I said, because I didn't need it. And he goes, what else are you doing? But he was from Iran, so he had a different aspect on alternative medicines. And I said, I do pranic. I have a pranic healer working on me for my pain, and I do a bit myself. And he goes, oh, that's why you should have told me. I wouldn't have given you a script. And I thought, oh, okay. I was a bit nervous.
Is everybody capable of doing this, Marg? Or is this?
Yes. As I say, I teach 8-year-olds, 4-year-olds, 2-year-olds. Everyone is capable of doing it. Everyone's capable of going to the gym if they want to. You have to have a choice whether you go or not. It's a very simple technique. I've made it very simple. I actually have just been writing a children's one. But that's tripped me up a bit because I don't want to just teach children on their own, even though I've got working with children's and all of that stuff. I want a parent to come for the day as well. So because they need to learn some basic stuff of what their kid's doing. So that might come in 2023 when I construct it, but capable of learning this, whether you're 90 or 3.
You just got to have an open enough mind.
And there are 2-year-olds, as Rosemary says, the Shishumi medicine, he has 2-year-olds healing people with cancer because they're still connected to the divine, which is what we do. We teach you to connect to your higher powers and your higher source, and the energy flows through as pure and direct as it comes into here. And these 2-year-olds haven't been disconnected. So they're already plugged in. It's like sticking them in the power socket. They're already plugged in. They're turned on. They just say, here, hold this, and tell the baby to heal itself. Tell this person to heal itself, because they're channeling in the vibrational energy into that misdirected or damaged part of you.
Yes.
So it's just that it all gets knocked out of you, or the disbelief, and it's only when people have a real bad trauma that they open up to it, because nothing else over here has worked as they feel it should. It forces you to search a bit deeper and a bit broader and a bit bigger perspective. I had a situation myself in my corporate work. When I left the hospital, I ended up in a corporate health job, and an amazing 4 years that was. It was just a short 3-year contract. And I had a situation where I wrote a whole corporate health program to keep people out of hospital, to personalize their health program so they could understand their numbers here on a health assessment. Anyway, I did this particular thing, and it'll be a chapter of my next book because I can't shorten it. But I realized in this 3-month episode of this chapter, I'd been channeled. And this was before I did Pranic. And
You'd been channeled. So
I was actually channeled by a dead person to help his father, who was grieving from his death. And then I was like so spun out about it when I drove home, realized the whole scenario had played out over 3 months. And I'm like, oh, I think I've been channeled. So I rang the psychologist, who was just amazing, who helped me get through my PTS that the hospital sent me to. And I said, oh my God, I've got some symptoms coming back, and I think I need to talk to you urgently. So I saw him at 8 o'clock that morning on the way to work the next day, because I didn't take days off for work. Anyway, I said, oh my God, he goes, so what's happening? And I told him the scenario. I said, I think I've been channeled. And he goes, oh, they don't teach us that at uni. And I went, okay. He said, so I'm absolutely no help to you. But when you find out, let me know.
No.
So me being wholly medical, faith and science over here in the medical world, because that's all I knew, he gave me permission to open the door and go searching for a solution myself.
Yeah.
Because I was the good girl and I didn't stray from this science. I felt like I was betraying science because I was opening a door to a world that had been there for millions of years. And I'm like, oh, I'm stepping into the dark. No, you're not. You're just stepping into another solution that's another layer of layer of layer. And I went, ah. And then I went to my naturopath, and because I was being detoxed from mercury poisoning at the time. And he goes, oh, you've come in with a crowd of people. I've just told them to stand back and give you some space. And I went, oh, I've never told you about the dead people that follow me around trying to talk to me. And he goes, oh, well, I just know they're there. So he said, it's all right. I've just told them to back off a bit and give the girl some space. She'll talk to you when she's ready. And I went, what? So I said, to you about channeling? He goes, of course, everyone channels energy into their body every day to stay vertical. Oh, so it's nothing new and scary. He goes, well, no, you'd be dead without it. Oh, okay. So he just normalized it into my life, and I went, oh, okay, so it's nothing bad. No, it's not bad. You'd be dead without it. We all channel energy and vibrations into our body to stay alive and do our thought processes. Okay, I better learn about this. And so everyone has, my story is totally not anyone else's story because it's unique to me. Everyone has little stepping stones and little turning points, and they have traumas and emotions and divorces and deaths and crises. And that's to give them some emotional chaos to help them redirect in a choice. Do I go searching, or do I just sit here and suffer and feel sorry for myself.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And
So
how do you teach that?
So pranic can actually give you protection so you are safe within yourself.
Yes.
Mm.
And you're safe externally. We learn to put shields on cars and all sorts of things when we get up to level 4.
Mm.
So but you can have that protection without learning it if you've learnt some techniques of self-reliance. So not living in fear is one of them. I realise now, after my 20 years of metaphysical studies, I travelled the world and did lots of stuff on my own because I didn't have any fear. I didn't live in fear, but I was.
Same here.
So I'm like, let's just go and do that. And when I travelled into South Africa on my own, my parents were beside themselves because the Rhodesian War was on and something else and something else. I said, well, I'll be fine. I know where the consulate is. It's all good. So, but I did have had a strong sense of self that I knew how to keep myself safe.
Mm. In Art of Feminine Presence, because I'm a teacher of that, qualified in that, we actually talk about putting our light globe around us, and we call it putting ourselves in our own body, in our own bubble. So that protects us. And I know if I go into a situation and it's not feeling good, I can put my light globe on around me and it keeps me safe. And I can put a light globe around you, and then you are contained.
Well, we use a golden net and other techniques that you get taught down the track when you've learnt the basic techniques along the way. Otherwise, you don't learn to rock climb until how to crawl and walk. Like, you've got to learn it in incremental stages, because you don't take the cake out of the oven before you've mixed it. You've got to do the incremental stages. So yes, the techniques all the way along. And I thought my techniques had pretty well eased that I could really publish a book about, so I don't have to type up different workbooks every year. And then just 2 weeks ago, I was shown another massive big treatment for mental health stuff. And I went, so we're not done yet? No. So there's upgrades and updates all the time. So that's why the workbooks are different every year, because I'm bringing in these upgrades that I'm shown to bring in. So it's just I'm a bit impatient. I want it all done yesterday. But I have to submit to the flow. So yes, it's very empowering, and it's so rewarding watching people grow with these energies filling their spaces.
Thank you, Marg. I think
thank you for giving me the opportunity to explain what I do.
My pleasure. And I'm sure that people have got so much out of this because you've actually explained so much for them about what it is and how it all works together and how it fits between the real medical side and the energy side as well. That's
one of my passions, is to bring the two together. And as I tell my students, don't just think this is it. It's not. You chase people off to their doctor to get their medical checks done, because so much is picked up early. So thank you for having me, and it's been very exciting.
So if people want to get in touch with you, Marg, how do they get in touch with you?
The best way is Facebook's all there, but it's just so random. So I have a website called Oz Consulting. When I came back from America, I have the .com component because I can, and so it's Oz. And I was doing nursing on a contract basis.
Oz, OZ or
AUS,
right?
Oz Health, HEALTH, consulting.com. So you can contact me through there, or just.
So Facebook, is that a group or is that just
Facebook? I've got my Oz Health Consulting there, and it's an image of a big crystal, sort of blue crystal lotus flower on a black background. And then my public one that's a public business one, which I don't know, it just ends up with all this other stuff in there. And I tend not to use Facebook too much for a lot of my documentation, because they own everything that you put there. And so my files is ozhealthconsulting.com, and people can go in and out there. My phone number's in there. And my other website for workshops is lifeforcelearning.com. pranichealing.com.au. So, but you can just contact me on the phone number with a text message, because there's so many modes of communication. I can't keep up with it all. It's just too hard to live, work, and keep up with it. So my phone number is 0488 30 339.
So you're in Australia.
And I'm in Australia. I do have an American number, but my American people, you know, word of mouth gets around and they contact me through that. And Facebook's great, don't get me wrong, but everyone wants to use Messenger, and I miss it when I'm working. Can't check 3 loads of stuff, whereas I get an email from notifications from my website. So usually I can go in there and, oh, hello. And then I'm also in the natural therapies page, but that's a bit trippy too, because they keep changing things. And I had some poor love trying to contact me, and they click some button and I didn't get the notification for 2 months. But I just look at it, well, maybe 2 months ago they weren't ready, this 2 months, and they got amazing results. But just text me, I'll call and say I'm a person with true intentions, because you get a lot of spam and crap coming in through emails now. So just put a little heading, hey, I'd love to contact you about, I'm a genuine client potential or something, because otherwise you don't know. You just don't know at the moment. There's so many scams, and I don't want to blow you off.
I hear you.
So ozhealthconsulting.com, I set that business and that name up, but then a medical company came in and called himself Oz Health and stole that part of my name. And so if you get a medical health, that's the wrong one. It's ozhealthconsulting.com.
Beautiful.
Okay, darlings. Thank you for lovely to meet you all, and we'll talk soon.
Beautiful. Thank you.
Have a great day.
Thank you so much for listening to this week's episode of Wow, Love, Light, Inspire, the podcast. I hope you got a lot out of today. Marg is an amazing woman. She has so much knowledge, and oh boy, can she talk. So she's absolutely explained everything there is to know about pranic, anything, energy healing, and everything. So if you've enjoyed it, please subscribe. Leave us a message. We'd love to get some feedback from people. I'd really love to know that you're enjoying what we're giving you here. Now, thank you, Nissa. She is the person who is behind the scenes, who's put this together, and she does an amazing job. So thank you, Nissa. Thank you for putting it all together. And remember to subscribe. You know, pressing the subscribe button means that you won't miss another episode. Now, there's over 30 episodes that we've done so far this year, all speaking to amazing women. So if you haven't listened to some of the old podcasts, go back, have a listen, because they're really, really good with really amazing, fascinating women. And I'm Lorraine Roberts, your productivity strategist. So if you just want to start a business, if you want to get going in life, if you're a little bit confused and don't know what to do, if procrastination is beating you and you're not getting on top of jobs like you would like to get on top of jobs, come and see me. Give me a call, leave me a message on Facebook. Our Facebook group, Women of Love, Light and Inspiration, the community group, is a great group. I post stuff there every day. I've just done a whole pile of inspirational quotes, all quotes that I've come up with myself. And I put videos in there and all sorts of other stuff. So come and find us in there, connect with us, and have a great day.